What if I told you that the most eaten food on this planet was invented over 4,000 years ago? And nobody can agree on who did it. Italians swear it's theirs. The Chinese will say, "Excuse me." And historians? Historians are still arguing. We're talking about noodles, not pasta, not ramen, not spaghetti. All of them. The idea of noodles, boiled dough in some form, is so ancient, so deeply woven into human civilization that tracing its origins is like trying to find the source of a river that feeds the entire world. Today, over 4 billion servings of instant noodles alone are eaten every single week. That's not a food. That's a civilization. So how did we get here? How did a lump of dough and water become the backbone of every culture on Earth? Pull up a chair. This is the story of the noodle, and it's wilder than you think. Let's go back, way back, to 2002, in the Lajia archaeological site in northwestern China. Researchers are digging through the ruins of what appears to be a 4,000-year-old disaster, a massive flood or earthquake that buried an entire settlement in mud. And then, in the wreckage, they find something extraordinary, an overturned clay bowl. And inside, a clump of thin, perfectly formed yellow noodles, preserved for 4 millennia under layers of sediment. This was the oldest physical evidence of noodles ever discovered, radiocarbon dated to around 2000 BCE. Now here's where it gets fascinating. These weren't wheat noodles. They were made from millet, specifically 2 types, foxtail millet and broomcorn millet, which were the dominant grains in ancient China. The noodles were thin, long, almost like modern yi noodles, and they were found in a bowl, suggesting this was a meal, not a ceremony. Someone 4,000 years ago was just having lunch, and in that simple, humble moment, boiled grain dough in a bowl, the noodle was born. China didn't just discover noodles. China perfected them. For thousands of years, noodle making in China evolved into something almost artistic. Different regions developed radically different techniques. The north, where wheat grew, pulled, stretched, and cut noodles from dough. The south, with rice paddies, pressed rice flour into thin sheets and sliced them into strands. By the time of the Han Dynasty, around 200 BCE, noodles were already a staple food. They were boiled, they were fried, they were served in soups and sauces. The Chinese even attached meaning to them. Long noodles, changshu mian, literally long life noodles, became a symbol of longevity. You eat them on birthdays. You don't cut them. Cutting them means cutting your life short. This cultural weight made noodles something sacred, not just fuel, but philosophy on a plate. And then came the technique that would change everything: hand pulling. Ramen, pulled noodles, is basically alchemy. You take a piece of dough, and through a series of folds and pulls, you can make 16,384 strands of noodles from a single piece. It requires years of practice. Noodle masters who can do this are still celebrated in China today. Walk into any ramen restaurant in Lanzhou, and you'll see a chef performing this in front of you, a 2,000-year-old technique, unchanged. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the Italian in the room. For decades, there was a popular story. Marco Polo, the Venetian explorer, sailed to China in the 13th century, discovered noodles, and brought pasta back to Italy. Case closed. Mystery solved. Except, that's almost certainly not true. Here's the problem. Historical records show pasta was already being made in Italy before Marco Polo returned from China. A Genoese document from 1279, the year before Marco Polo even left for his journey, already mentions a basket of macaroni, so Italy already had pasta. The more likely explanation? Noodles were invented independently in multiple places. Humans are pretty predictable. Give a civilization grain and water and the knowledge of heat. And at some point, someone is going to mix flour and water into dough, shape it, and boil it. It's almost inevitable. The Arab world, which had been trading with both Asia and Europe, also played a massive role in bringing dried pasta westward. Arab traders in the 9th century were already making a dried, long-strand pasta called etria in Sicily. When the Normans conquered Sicily in the 12th century, they found locals making this pasta, and they loved it. So pasta in Italy might owe more to Arab traders than to Marco Polo. However, pasta arrived in Italy. By the 14th and 15th centuries, it had found its home. Italy didn't just adopt pasta, it obsessed over it. Different regions became fiercely protective of their own pasta shapes and recipes. Bologna claimed the ragu, Naples claimed spaghetti. Rome had cacio e pepe. And they weren't just protective, they were legally protective. Even today, certain pasta dishes in Italy are protected by official designations that dictate exactly how they must be made. True Neapolitan pizza, true Bolognese, these have laws around them. By the 18th century, pasta eating had become so associated with Naples that Neapolitans were nicknamed mangiamacaroni, the macaroni eaters. Street vendors sold pasta cooked in boiling water right on the roadside, and locals would eat it with their bare hands, leaning over the pot. Pasta was poor food, cheap food, survival food, and then it became the world's most beloved cuisine. Now let's take a detour east, to Japan, where noodles didn't just become food, they became culture. Japan has multiple noodle traditions: soba, buckwheat noodles, deeply tied to Zen Buddhism and Japanese aesthetics; udon, thick, chewy wheat noodles that date back to the 9th century. And then there's the newcomer, ramen. Ramen is actually a relatively recent arrival in Japan. Chinese wheat noodles in broth, called shina soba, were introduced to Japan in the late 19th century by Chinese immigrants. They were sold from food stalls and were considered foreign, working-class food. And then World War II happened. After the war, Japan was devastated. Food was scarce. The United States flooded Japan with surplus wheat, and a black market for wheat flour exploded. Street vendors sold cheap bowls of noodle soup everywhere. The government initially banned it, then legalized it. From devastation, ramen rose. By the 1950s, ramen stalls were everywhere. Different cities developed wildly different versions: Sapporo's rich, buttery miso ramen, Fukuoka's creamy tonkotsu, Tokyo's delicate shoyu broth. Ramen became a canvas for regional identity. And then, 1958, a man named Momofuku Ando changed everything. He invented instant ramen. His company, Nissin, created the first instant noodles, pre-cooked, dehydrated, and packaged for anyone to eat in minutes. It was described as a miracle noodle in post-war Japan, a cheap, shelf-stable, just add hot water miracle. Today, instant noodles are the most widely eaten processed food on the planet. So here we are. 4,000 years of history, one food. We started in the mud of Laggia, a bowl of millet noodles buried under an ancient disaster. We traveled the Silk Road, crossed the Mediterranean, survived a world war, and somehow ended up with a foil packet of instant ramen in a college dorm room. The noodle is one of humanity's oldest inventions, not a weapon, not a monument, a meal. And what does that say about us? Every time a civilization faced scarcity, ancient China, post-war Japan, colonial Italy, they didn't give up. They stretched dough thin, dropped it in boiling water, and fed each other. The noodle is a survival tool with a beautiful disguise. Now here's where I want to leave you with something to think about. We know where the oldest noodle was found, but here's the question no one can fully answer. Why did so many civilizations completely independently arrive at the same idea? Was it truly independent invention? Or were there ancient trade routes, earlier than we think, that connected the world long before we have written records? There are historians who believe the Silk Road is older than we know, that the exchange of ideas and ingredients between East and West happened centuries before Marco Polo, before the documented routes we study in school. If that's true, the story of the noodle might actually be the story of human connection itself. The idea that even across thousands of miles and different languages and completely different cultures, someone was always sitting down to the same bowl. The noodle didn't conquer the world. It is the world.